Hi everyone. I just said I'd quickly run through some of the data here. Please take no notice of this candle in my nose. That's just a hydrogen machine. It's a form of therapy. It's not that I need it. Okay, so today I said I'd just run through my PET scan as at January the 12th, so this Monday, versus August the 15th, 2025. So I suppose what is a PET scan? A PET scan measures activity of tumor, I suppose, within the body. So it's kind of the most effective way of showing kind of like whether things are getting better or worse. So for the fun of it, I decided to kind of like download all the data, get the data, and more that I didn't want to wait. You got to wait for these reports, and they're not really that extensive when you get them. So like you are nearly better off like kind of doing it yourself if you can. So here's the image we'll be looking at up here. This is now, that's before, that's my brain. You don't need to worry about that. So let's move on. One thing of note, I've set the SUV is the measure of activity to 7, which is quite reasonable. Inflammation can be up to around 4.5. So anything around there could be inflammation, whereas tumor activity be much higher. That's a very soft indicator. But anyway, let's run through it. Not overcomplicate it. So let me clear the annotations. So as you scroll down, you can see that's my brain, that's my teeth, and we'll move down here as well. You can see that there was, there could be still a lymph node here. It's not clear. Whereas before we can see that it was there. So this is the equivalent. And yeah, so it doesn't necessarily look too scary at the moment, but yeah, that could be a lymph node, also not. Also moving down, you can see that there's an image marked here. Previously, you can see that was a very active lymph node. You can see here that yellowness there in the focal point is actually a lymph node. So you can see that's kind of more or less resolved now in this image and very hard to identify unless you knew it was there. That's good. Whereas there it was really kind of prominent. Again, yellow is kind of bad, basically, to some extent. There's a very soft indicator. So yeah, let's keep on moving down. It's great to see that resolving. Means it's kind of not really longer active, or maybe a little bit. Here you can kind of minorly see a little bit of yellow here. Again, only if you know it was there. As we scroll down, you can see it starts here. So yeah, that was tumor lymph nodes. You can see quite high in terms of the actual mean and the SUV value, and the size was quite big, so quite prominent. Not really any longer there, which is a very good sign. It's a very in-depth scanner that they have in Cork, so that's good. Here you can see there's another lymph node. It's the equivalent here. Generally, this one is kind of like a couple of slides ahead. So that's 103, that's 106. So that's kind of more or less resolved now. Very unlikely that it's kind of as active as it was there. You can see how active that was, and now it's kind of pretty miniature. So another good response. Here you kind of have this kind of three horrific active nodes, and yeah, so you could see that they transcend a lot of slides. They're very big. They've kind of merged into each other. Even got into two or big ones. Three, a lot of like lymph nodes active there in the tumors, whereas now they're barely visible in terms of the activity. So again, very good, on the pathway to being resolved. And I think now, again, they were very big, very high SUVs, very strong, very prominent, and now not really kind of as present as they previously were. Here, we're kind of getting into the similar area now of the actual esophagus itself, which is the main point. Still likely some there, but much less than what was previously there. Now we're into the esophagus down here, so let me get into the esophagus here. Note how it's very diffuse, the area up here, and here it's like boom in your face. So yeah, down there in August, this was really, really bad. Whereas now it's much better in terms of the actual activity levels. So yeah, no, and that continues very much so. As I scroll down through it, you can see very, very like light color of yellow. Here, very prominent. You can see, well, look, if you look at the nuclear image here, it's bloody scary. But anyway, you can see it's like a light bulb, basically. Clearly very aggressive, kind of dangerous cancer. You don't want to have it. Believe me. Here, no, certainly not resolved, but like a lot better, a lot better. Very faint, barely visible, kind of clearly resolved in certain areas. and hopefully on the way to resolving in others. So I've kind of scrolled down through the whole esophagus there, whereas here it's just crazy, right? I mean, when I'm scrolling down here in August, it's really bad. Here, this kind of, it could have been a lymph node, could have been the end of the esophagus. Hard to tell. You can see that I'm now kind of into a different area, finishing the esophagus. It's basically gone here, virtually gone up here as well. So hopefully that'll resolve with time. It's tiny in terms of the area, it's relative to what it was. Could have been a lymph node. And as we move down, you can kind of see that the majority of the rest has resolved in terms of there could be an active lymph node. If we move down in August, you could see there was lymph nodes all over the place. Down here, yeah, more, just kind of massive ones here, really focal points, really strong, really kind of significant ones. So yeah, really bad. No, more or less all gone. You could still see some, look, if you kind of knew it was there, you'd know, but you could consider that resolving to the extent that it's decreasing each time. And yeah, it's kind of more or less gone. And now we're down to 156. So yeah, we can scroll down, we can still see lots of activity there, more lymph nodes there. And this really big one, 181. So, and that's actually this one that I'm looking at here, where you can still kind of see the remnants of it. But again, looking at the numbers, nothing to kind of necessarily worry about, massive improvement. So then you scroll down, and the only thing that's kind of a minor concern is down here, um, where there's one kind of node that might be, it could be just as a result of surgery. It wasn't previously there. So there you go. Kind of just ran through the whole thing there. The main thing is really a lot better. Main reason is the esophagus is kind of really kind of lightening in terms of the color, and that's activity. Whereas before it was like a flash bulb, So all good stuff. Hopefully, we'll definitely overcome it. I'm not out of the woods yet, but definitely, massive improvements and to my quality of life. I just can't really eat at the moment. It's a bit of a balls. Thanks for your time. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you never have to look at one of these because yeah, you're better off not having to. But if you do have to, better off take ownership of your own medical information and do your best to kind of like, understand it because the reports aren't impressive from most places that I've ever seen. So at least you kind of know where things are going. Bye. Thanks everyone for your help.